Number 10. Rejected. Kind of. This one comes from JLA issue number 90 from the 1997 series. Here, Wonder Woman and Batman eventually share a kiss, which prompts Diana to look inside herself and see how she really feels about Bruce and the potential for a relationship with him. After looking deep within her subconscious by using the trans-consciousness articulator, try saying that 5 times fast, Diana decides it would be best if she and Bruce didn't actually end up together. She tells him as much, just as he seems to be ready to say the same. Although he also makes quite the face when she asks him if he felt being with her was worth risking all they already had as friends. And while Bruce seems to say that he agrees with Diana wholeheartedly, his face and the parentheses in his speech bubble seem to imply otherwise to me. All in all, I think both of these two ended up a little bit embarrassed by the whole ordeal, so it's a bit of a two-way street with this one. Batman's embarrassed, Diana's a little embarrassed.
Number 9. Super intimate. Guys, superheroes have emotions just like us, okay? They meet other supers, they fall in love, they have super babies, they have lives too, it's fair. Sometimes key intimate moments are hard to conceal when you have the power of a god. So after the triumph that is The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller decided to dive into a scene that we could have all gone without, involving her and Superman. So her and Superman get it on. In a fancy super hotel, maybe the Fortress of Solitude? No, God no. They get it on in the sky, you know, causing massive tidal waves, volcanoes are shooting off, they even moved the earth a bit. Man, even people are evacuating islands. Like, this is a bad day for everybody but Wonder Woman, of course. Next time you guys want to get it on for a 5-panel straight, I don't know, maybe Egypt. Someplace with a lot of sand and openness. Don't be blasting rocks at innocents. It's not nice.
Number 8. Defeat 'em to beat 'em. You know how we've mentioned the time that Batman incapacitated inadvertently the whole Justice League thanks to his contingency plans being stolen and then used by Ra's al Ghul? Well, he isn't the only one to defeat the Justice League. In fact, Wonder Woman defeated the Justice League without the interference or influence of anyone else. She did it single-handedly, and instead of it being a betrayal, it was actually to try and protect the League. However, the realization that Wonder Woman could take them all out so easily was likely pretty embarrassing when they came to afterwards. This all happened in League of One, where Diana defeated the League in order to protect them against a prophecy. You see, they had to go up against a dragon, but it was supposed to be the League's fate to both succeed in defeating the dragon, but also die in the process of winning that battle. To spare the rest of her friends and teammates, Diana beat them so that she could face the dragon alone and hopefully be the only one to both defeat it and possibly die in the process. Number 7. Cheaters never prosper. This was like a whole thing where I feel like everyone was kind of embarrassed. Like, pretty much everyone involved, I feel like, was embarrassed in this one. I know I was embarrassed watching this happen. Oof. We are talking about when in the DCEU in Wonder Woman 1984, Diana competes in an Amazonian triathlon against the other Amazons, despite being very much their junior. The princess is hopeful that she can win the competition despite her lack of experience and her youth in comparison to her sisters. However, when she loses her horse, she has to get resourceful in order to catch back up and ends up taking a shortcut to do so. However, apparently it turns out that this is cheating, and so her perceived victory is considered null and void by her mother, the hero, Queen Hippolyta, who also seems pretty disappointed, but still hopeful when it comes to her daughter's attempt. She's like, look, you can't cheat, but maybe next time, maybe you get him next time. Don't take shortcuts. I was like embarrassed because I was like, really? That was cheating? Oh, okay. I would have done that too. I'm with you, Diana.
Number 6. Whom God Destroys Wonder Woman. This version of Wonder Woman only showed up in a 4-issue series called Superman and Wonder Woman Who Gods Destroy. This storyline takes place in an alternate world where Europe is still under the control of the Germans, and Lois Lane actually steps up to the plate as the new Wonder Woman in order to protect those around her from the tyrannical ruling of the original Wonder Woman and Superman. Not a whole lot is known about this evil Wonder Woman other than the fact that she betrayed her home in order to obtain more power. And just like the other evil versions of her, her lack of humanity is incredibly evident as she looks down on Lois Lane's Wonder Woman for just being immortal. The story ends with Lois defeating the evil Wonder Woman, and it is revealed that the gods Zeus and Hera were actually playing a game of chess using the world as their chess pieces. And that's why everything is so messed up. Oddly enough though, the story doesn't quite end there, because once everyone is defeated, everything seems to be pretty much back to normal. Superman, Lois, and Wonder Woman all decide to live together on Superman's fortress on the moon. Check out this miniseries for yourself, starting with 1997 Superman and Wonder Woman Whom Gods Destroy, number 1.
Number 5. Can't Stop Killing. It's hard to tell who would be more embarrassed in this scenario, Wonder Woman or all of her friends who try to reach out to her and really epically fail. This all goes down in a dark multiverse tale, a darker version of War of the Gods. Here, Wonder Woman ends up losing her mother and in her darkness finds herself possessed and overtaken by Hecate, who uses Wonder Woman as her host to reach out and conquer Earth. Wonder Woman's friends try to stop Diana and reach her, but she's trapped deep within a pit of despair after having not properly dealt with her emotions, basically. Struggling to find her way back to love and hope, the only solution is for many magic users of DC to band together, sacrificing themselves in order to defeat Hecate, but still unable to bring back Diana. Whew. Zatanna, as a result, keeps Hecate in Diana's body locked away, hoping to one day find a cure for the possession so she can bring back her friend once more. Number 4. Rejected. But for real this time. Real rejection. So this isn't rejection of the romantic sort, but it is the rejection of a kind of, like a team-up sort, I guess you could say. In Wonder Woman the Hecate, Bruce and Diana end up at odds with one another. As such, the two end up in a fight with one another. Wonder Woman handily ends up defeating Batman in that fight, placing her boot on his head as he lays in a puddle, and urges him to not get back up. Batman decides to surrender, which I think is a good choice. Instead of fighting back, Batman tries a new tactic and begs for Diana's mercy and protection. This shocks Wonder Woman as Batman clings to her boots. He calls on the age-old ritual and rites to seek her power and her aid. Wonder Woman, however, reminds Bruce of his history, saying that in times previous, heroic men have been denied, as she chooses to deny him now. Ouch. Looks like Batman needs to brush up on his reading of the Iliad, apparently.
Number 3. Hunted the Huntress. Now, when it comes to non-canon stories or alternate dark realities, sure, it doesn't really count as much. You can kind of put those away in your head and pretend like they don't exist. But these horrible actions are still done by our beloved heroes. It's hard to get over some of these happenings. It's kind of like when you have a dream your sibling is being mean to you, and then you wake up the next morning just angry at them for no reason. Like before school, they're like, "Good morning," and you're like, "Morning," whatever. Shut up. So on the topic of injustice, we find our main supers in a world that's not so bright. Issue 21 of Injustice Year 3 shows us just how great Wonder Woman is at cracking the whip when she wraps the lasso of pain around the neck of Huntress. And then the crack we hear is, well, it's exactly what you think. Now, she didn't mean to kill her, but I also didn't mean to wrist shot an orange hockey ball at my neighbor's parked car when I was 13. Accident or not, you're still paying the price, Buster.
Number 2. Defeated by love? That's right, Wonder Woman actually defeated someone with basically just the power of love. Although I suppose I shouldn't say like just the power of love. After all, love is kinda Wonder Woman's biggest ideal, I'd say, and it also is extremely powerful if you know how to use it. Case in point, when Diana went up against a villainous Donna Troy. Donna seemingly had the upper hand in the fight, claiming to be the more powerful of the two, designed to be a more perfect version of Diana when Wonder Woman decided to bust out one of her most effective weapons, the lasso of truth, which unlike Ghost Rider's pen and stare, almost always actually works on the folks that she targets it with. I know there's gonna be Ghost Rider fans coming for me in the comments. They're gonna be like, look, the pen and stare is great, but I'm just saying, I can give you so many examples of times it didn't work. I think it's almost equal. It's like a 1-for-1. Compelled to see and realize the truth, Diana reminded Donna of what it really meant to be an Amazon. It's not about power, you see, or strength. It's about being part of a culture, being part of a family, being a sister. That is the most important defining word of Amazonian culture. Sister. And with that one word and realization, Diana handily defeats her sister Donna using nothing but truth and love. Number 1. The truth comes out. One of the most memed Power Girl and Wonder Woman moments comes from the 2007 The Brave and the Bold series in issue number 7. While many people have spun this series of panels with their own reason for why Kara is so shocked at her answer to Wonder Woman's question, changing up just what that answer is, the real dialogue sees Kara handing back Wonder Woman's lasso of truth and while passing it over to her, answering Diana's question of, where she's off to next. Power Girl responds in the comic that she's off to go kill Superman, shocking both herself and Diana, and leaving her super embarrassed while Diana is convinced that something must be wrong with Power Girl. Perhaps she's brainwashed or she's possessed, as the lasso obviously compels those it touches to only tell the truth. So, I mean, she's gotta be telling the truth. Wow, what an embarrassing way to realize that that's going on.
Kicking off the list at number 10. She killed Maxwell Lord. Okay, it's one thing to kill an enemy, but to do it in front of thousands of people? I mean, do you have to? Wonder Woman issue 219 showed us a side to Wonder Woman that unfortunately had to come out. This issue was awesome. She handled Lord Maxwell and she wasn't playing around. Now at the time, Superman was a little off, and by off I mean under control by Maxwell himself. So he was a threat, and the two of them going at it was already intense enough. Something you don't want to see. Like Diana is pulling out some boss moves. At one point she says that every single strength can be turned into a weakness. And when he stops speaking, that's when I know he's using his ears. God forgive me, followed by a mighty huh, and just rocks his eardrums. Then she tries to shake Maxwell down using the lasso of truth, demanding to set Superman free from his grasp. He says, "Kill me," and she responds not with words, but with actions instead. And even Superman's like, whoa.
Number 9. Exposed a critical weakness. This one comes to us from one of the short stories included in the Wonder Woman 80th Anniversary 100-page Super Spectacular. The story is titled Dreamers, and it features a younger Diana who ends up, even as a kid, exposing a critical weakness in the Amazon's defenses for Doom's doorway. She ends up sneaking into the area with the help of Theo the shark, so great, hoping to get a better understanding of secrets and responsibilities she'll inherit when she becomes queen. By the way, in case you forgot, Diana can communicate with animals in marine life. She can talk to Theo. She's basically like a more bad Disney princess. Successfully sneaking into the area, Diana comes across Nubia, who is tasked with guarding the doorway, and reprimands Diana for sneaking in. Though she also seems like a little bit impressed that Diana, being so young, was able to poke holes in the defenses of her much older and experienced sisters. Fortunately, Nubia's like, "Don't worry, I won't tell your mom, but I will have to tell her that hey, there's a hole here. We need to fix that. We need to tell these sharks to keep their mouths shut."
Number 8. Wonder Woman causing volcanoes to explode. I mean, that's pretty epic, but what about that time she made Captain Atom explode? If you drop a can of soda on the ground, it's ready to blow. You don't want to touch it. The last thing you want to do is puncture that can, or else you're gonna be sticky. Then you're covered in bees. No one wants bees. In the Injustice storyline, we find Wonder Woman making a not so smart choice when it comes to handling Captain Atom. So he's about to rock Superman, right? And then Wonder Woman comes in and cuts his throat open with her sword. "Oh, you stupid," he says to Diana. "I have more power in me than 10 nuclear bombs, and you and your stupid magic sword have just breached the thing that contains it." And then he decides, this is my last opportunity anyway, screw it. Grabs Superman, and then takes Superman out to get an up-close and personal look at the light show. Nice. Number 7. Darkseid's powers. Sometimes you have a choice, and sometimes that choice is a lose-lose. These happen a lot in comic book movies, like Doctor Strange giving away the Time Stone to Thanos and then powering him up. It's a bad move, but it's better than the alternative still, because he saw the future, he knows. So in Wonder Woman's case, he was less of a problem this time around. So when Brainiac took control of Warworld in the Our Worlds at War storyline, specifically Wonder Woman issue 173, Wonder Woman gives away part of her soul in order to restore Darkseid's powers. Why the hell would she do that? To fight off the alien Imperiex? Yeah? Okay, I guess that's fine, that's fair. That's more than fair. I mean, after his powers are restored, they're able to stop Brainiac 13 and Imperiex. But you can't be juicing that guy up. I mean, of all people, not him. Number 6, ahead of the game. So one of the changes to reality that occurs during the Flashpoint event is when Wonder Woman and Aquaman get married. It's great. I mean, well, not really. Weddings are just fun, I guess, I don't know. I hear the song Shout and then I black out. It's so weird. This is the reality now where Bruce Wayne was killed and not his parents. So Superman is in a government lab having a not so relaxing time, and then we see Diana being saved by a sea monster from Aquaman. Ah, how lovely. A nice thing. Ah, yes. Classic Wonder Woman. Nothing like getting cheated on and then having your head cut off, adding injury to insult in this case. She then pops her crown off her severed head and then places it nicely on her own. And of course, a war follows between the Atlanteans and the Amazons, but comes to a lovely conclusion when Wonder Woman kills Aquaman by stabbing him in the back. Literally. Number 5, hung up on Trevor. Okay, so the Flashpoint paradox has a good chunk of not so pleasant moments. I mean, that's the whole point. Some things aren't meant to be changed, or else you risk opening the door to these nasty other realities. Like the one where Wonder Woman kills. A lot. So in the comics, we see Wonder Woman, rather Queen Diana at this point, send some Amazons to kill Steve Trevor, which alone, as I say that, just sounds terrible. But to make it even more list-worthy, the animated version is so much darker. Yikes. Okay, we see this scene in the Flashpoint movie. I'll stand up and clap. I'll do it. I'll be like, yes, you guys, someone did it.
Number 4. Wonder Woman, God of War. Following 2011's Flashpoint event, DC rebooted the entirety of its continuity into the New 52. In the new Wonder Woman, the story of Hippolyta creating Diana from clay is revealed to actually be a lie, and Diana is actually a child of Zeus, and the whole clay bit was a cover story intended to keep Zeus's jealous wife Hera from killing her. Sometime later during her training, Diana became the secret protege of Ares, the god of war, only to have him drop her when she refused to kill for him. Years later, after Diana learned her true origin, she found herself embroiled in the power struggles of her Olympian kin. In the course of one adventure, she had to kill Ares, which made her the new god of war, and although she fought against the role for a while, as the battle against the monstrous firstborn of Zeus heated up, she stepped right into the job. Honestly, who knows what Wonder Woman creator William Marston would have made of this, given that he wrote her as this force of peace and this nemesis of the god of war. He might be happier with the events in DC Rebirth, which implies that the whole, Diana's New 52 adventures didn't actually happen.
Number 3, poking eyes and breaking arms. And in Justice Gods Among Us Year 4, there is a brutal showdown between Superman and Wonder Woman that is basically orchestrated by Batman. The two face off in a trial by combat style fight in order to settle a dispute, with Wonder Woman being forced to fight as she was nominated by Batman, even though she and Supes are kinda still technically on the same side here. However, this just means that in the end, Diana is able to use Clark's hesitancy to her advantage. She not only defeats Clark, but she does so brutally. At first it seems as though he'll come out victorious, but the fight ends with Diana clearly on top, attempting to gouge out his eyes before succeeding in breaking his arm. Youch. It's not easy to break a Kryptonian's arm, by the way. That is a lot.
Number 2, cut to the chase. With Wonder Woman 1984 getting the official go-ahead to release on HBO Max this holiday season, it's fair to look into some other run-ins with the two. One that's particularly notable, starting in Wonder Woman Volume 3, Issue 26. Titled Rise of the Olympian. So we see her interrogation skills bump up a notch when she crossed paths with Cheetah. So she decides to threaten her, of course by demanding Cheetah to tell her the location of Etta Candy. Or else she'll cut her tail off. That's crazy. That's like the superhero version of a mob boss taking a finger. That's so thug. And number 1, she left humanity behind. With time jumps and time heists, superhero flicks can bring up a lot of questions during the downtime in between these films. Like for example, Kat going back in time to be with Peggy. Wonderful, so sweet, may have even brought a tear out of my eye, maybe 2 tears, or 70 tears. But then you think of all the things that still happen in real life and you're like, really? Like he was there the whole time? I feel like you could have done something for I don't know, one of those horrible events. Now of course in doing so may just cause even worse things to happen, like we see with Barry Allen saving his mother, but then Wonder Woman hangs Steve Trevor, so it's like, This idea comes crawling back in now that we see Wonder Woman in modern day Justice League movies. She tells Bruce at the end of Dawn of Justice that men made a world where standing together is impossible, and left humanity for a century. I mean, again, I feel like you could have just stepped in, helped out with maybe, I don't know, World War II?
Number 10, Wonder Woman Dark Knight's Death Metal. Now although this is technically in the main continuity, the Wonder Woman that appears in Dark Knight's Death Metal absolutely deserves a spot on this list today because she is one serious badass. Introduced to us in the first issue of Dark Knight's Death Metal, Wonder Woman alongside Swamp Thing is a guard of the demonic looking prison that holds any villain that does not want to team up with the Batman Who Laughs. So it would kinda seem like she's working for him, but it's revealed later that is not the case when she just impales and rips the Batman Who Laughs in two with her new awesome looking weapon, the Chainsaw of Truth. Wonder Woman's whole goal in this storyline is to correct mistakes that have been made and to set everything back on track by somehow resetting the timeline. Basically, she's the Wonder Woman we all know and love, stuck in one of the darkest and scariest DC storylines to date, and that is why she is starting off our list today. Check her out for yourself, starting with 2020's Dark Knight's Death Metal, Volume 1, Number 1. Number 9, BIZARRA. You can probably guess it from the name, but BIZARRA is the Bizarro version of Wonder Woman. Now if you're not familiar with Bizarro, he is basically an incomplete clone of Superman, which means that BIZARRA is an incomplete clone of Wonder Woman. She was created using the powers of the 5th dimension and is meant to be the evil counterpart to our Wonder Woman, but I think we all know that Bizarro versions of any hero never really get the job done. Even though BIZARRA possesses both the bracelets of submission and the lasso of truth like her counterpart, she's only strong enough to challenge Wonder Woman in a one-on-one duel, and when it comes to brains, oh man, trust me, she does not even come close to Wonder Woman. As a member of the Injustice League of Un-America, Bizarro was one of the many that was captured by Metallo in his attempt to rule over Bizarro World, but was thankfully freed by Bizarro himself. Now I think my favorite thing about BIZARRA and the other Bizarro copies is their way of speaking. She spoke in a very twisted tongue and always meant the opposite of what she said. For example, when she says, "I love you," she actually means, "I hate you." Check her out for yourself in 2015's The Multiversity Guidebook, number 1. Number 8. Brunhilde. Hailing from Earth 10, a universe where many of our favorite heroes have been turned into villainous versions of themselves, comes Valkyrie Brunhilde, the Wonder Woman of this Earth that is based on Norse mythology, as opposed to, the original Greek. On Earth 10, all these superheroes we're familiar with are part of the German army and are believers of fascism, so from that you can probably assume that most of them are pure evil. Brunhilde is a member of the New Reichman alongside other dark iterations of the Justice League members, whose only real goal is to rid the world of the freedom fighters and spread their ideals across the land. The New Reichman are, however, taken down pretty much from the inside after Overman began to feel guilty about his past deeds. Honestly, put simply, Brunhilde is an evil version of Wonder Woman that can and will go to any lengths necessary to get the job done. Give her story a read for yourself, starting with her first appearance in 2015's The Multiversity Guidebook, number 1. Number 7. Deceased Wonder Woman. Taking place in the Deceased DC universe, Deceased is a mini-series that follows the aftermath of Cyborg's body being used to carry a version of the anti-life equation that ended up turning the general population into zombies. In this mini-series, we see Wonder Woman become a member of the Unliving, which is basically DC's equivalent of zombies, whose whole purpose is to spread anti-life by either infecting or killing living things. They show very little signs of intelligence, and they still retain the ability to utilize their skill sets, powers, and technologies respectively to a surprisingly effective manner. The Infected have also shown numerous times of coming up with very elaborate strategies and tactical decisions to bypass pockets of resistance and cause as much death and destruction as possible. Our Infected Wonder Woman actually showed that she was able to form coherent and full sentences when she was interrogated by Cyborg, implying that she still has some humanity left in her. However, after being set free, she immediately decapitated Cyborg to preserve any secret she told him. Honestly, all I have to say is Wonder Woman's strength and skills combined with the mind and body of a zombie makes for a scary hero. So check her out for yourself, starting with 2019's Deceased, number 1.
Number 6. Beats down a god with his own weapon. This one comes from Wonder Woman issue 773. Legacy numbering, where Wonder Woman takes on the god Thor. Not Marvel's Thor, who is very much a hero, but DC's Thor, who is still technically a hero, but also is kind of more of a brute than the Thor Odinson of Marvel's Earth 616. Wonder Woman ends up in DC's version of Asgard after the events of Dark Knight Death Metal. Here she learns that there seems to be a problem with souls going missing. She attempts to solve it, but ends up bonking heads with Thor, who isn't much for diplomacy. At least, not initially. Don't worry though, Diana puts him in his place, besting him in combat, taking Mjolnir, smashing him in the face with it before crushing it between her two hands. She's like, hammers, not really my thing. And of course, only then is Thor willing to listen to what she has to say. But don't worry, it all works out in the end. Everyone's able to sit at a table and have a discussion and a beer afterwards, so yay.
Number 5. Frank Miller's Wonder Woman. Hopefully we all know who Frank Miller is, the writer of The Dark Knight Returns and Daredevil Born Again. Well, Miller also took a crack at the character that is Wonder Woman in his Batman series The Dark Knight Strikes Back. In this series, heroes like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Captain Marvel have been forced to work for the government, since their loved ones are being held hostage and are under threat. Superman is even ordered by the president, who turns out to be a computer-generated front for Lex Luthor and Brainiac, to stop Batman. It eventually gets to the point in the story where Superman, Wonder Woman, and their daughter Lara joins forces with Batman once again because they deem his plan to be the only way to get out of this whole mess. Now I'll be honest, this Wonder Woman isn't on this list today because of how dark the story is. It's mostly because this is considered to be one of the worst incarnations of Wonder Woman to date. Now she's definitely the warrior you expect from Wonder Woman, but her cold and quite frankly sexist portrayal in the comics was nothing short of distasteful. It also doesn't help that her humanity was put in question throughout the entirety of the graphic novel. If you feel like you can stomach it, check out this Wonder Woman and this whole series, starting with 2002's The Dark Knight Strikes Again, number 1.
Number 4. Bat for a bat. Jealousy can turn people, sometimes for the best. Like if your ex starts dating somebody new and you're like, I'll show you by bettering myself physically and mentally. Haha, I showed you. Or sometimes jealousy can make you fight another superhero because you're too in love with Batman. Either one. In Batman Brave and the Bold issue 78, we find Batgirl and Wonder Woman going at it, all for the love of Batman. I mean, it starts off kind of cute. Wonder Woman writes, "I love Batman" in the sky, hell yeah. And then this plane comes in and who could it be? Is that Batgirl? What is she? Oh, she's wiping with a lovely message, awesome. Oh, she's writing something of her own, what does it say? Only I love Batman, Batgirl, nice. So Wonder Woman's like, haha, okay, hold on a sec. Lasso's Batgirl, she's upset. I mean, fair. She just wiped away her message and she's like, no, I love him more. Impossible, she says. And then this is where Batgirl goes too far. She says back, nothing is impossible for you. You unhip chick. Wonder Woman ended up winning, but at what cost?
Number 3, Superwoman. I feel like we all knew this alternate Wonder Woman was going to end up on this list today. Hailing from Earth 3, the Earth that is said to be the birthplace of evil, Superwoman is a renegade Amazon who has also taken on the identity of Lois Lane, depending on the version that we're talking about here. Depending on her origin, she is either from Paradise Island or its antimatter equivalent known as Damnation Island. While there are many versions of her out there, one thing that they all have in common is her sadistic personality and the love triangle she has with her colleagues. Equipped with a lasso of submission, a barbed and much scarier looking version of the lasso of truth that forces the captor to not only comply with the user, but also fall in love with them, which she has used a few times to her advantage, if you know what I mean. As a member of the crime syndicate, she helped imprison most of the members of the various Justice Leagues in the Firestorm Matrix and began a reign of terror over the world, eliminating any resistance in their way. Give her story a read for yourself, starting with 1964's Justice League of America number 29, or skip ahead to 2013's Justice League Volume 2, number 23. Number 2, Injustice Wonder Woman. Easily one of the most dark and evil versions of Wonder Woman out there. Not only did she see Superman's descent into evil before it ever happened, but she also actively encouraged it, practically manipulating the Man of Steel when he was at his worst for her own personal gain. Not only that, but by the events of the original Injustice video game, she had been ruling Paradise Island with an iron fist and showed absolutely no remorse. She served as Superman's right hand and took the place of Lois Lane as his new love interest. However, he clearly showed no love towards her because he was still mourning the loss of his dead wife, who he killed himself. When she is confronted by her mainstream counterpart, the mainstream Wonder Woman reprimands her for blindly following a man who does not feel as much devotion to her as she does to him. And once Wonder Woman is defeated, she is taken by her fellow Amazons to be imprisoned for her role in the regime and is later seen on Kahndaq during the events of Injustice 2 as she has been exiled. Take a look at her story for yourself, starting with 2013's Injustice Gods Among Us number 1, or honestly just feel free to replay the games. And finally, number 1, Flashpoint Wonder Woman. When the Flash accidentally created Flashpoint as a result of attempting to save his mother, the ripple effects changed the timeline to the worst it's ever been. You know, Batman is Thomas Wayne, Superman is in a government facility, and Wonder Woman is the monarch of the Amazons and currently at war with Atlantis, all because she killed Aquaman's wife, who knew Wonder Woman was having an affair with her husband. With all of the normal powers and accessories that make Wonder Woman a formidable foe, this iteration of Wonder Woman seems to lack the empathy that prevents Diana from absolutely losing it and killing everyone. As the war went on, Aquaman and Wonder Woman forged an alliance to take down a mutual enemy, Batman. As both monarchs send their troops to Batman's lair, the world is erased, killing every single inhabitant. Absolutely cruel and bloodthirsty, this Wonder Woman has something that she shares with her Injustice counterpart: her lack of love and above all, her sickening lack of humanity. Now I love the Flashpoint timeline with all of my heart, so why not check it and her out for yourself, starting with 2011's Flashpoint Volume 2, number 1.